In the mid-1970s, New York City was on the edge. It was a time of fear, violence, and chaos. Crime was rampant, the economy was struggling, and the streets were no longer safe. But no one could have predicted that a single man, acting alone, would hold an entire city hostage in fear. A man who would later become known not by his real name, but by a chilling title, the Son of Sam. This is the story of David Berkowitz, from his troubled childhood to his descent into madness, in the terrifying killing spree that would leave 6 people dead, 7 injured, and millions terrified. A journey into the mind of one of America's most infamous serial killers. David Richard Berkowitz was born on June 1, 1953, in Brooklyn, New York. His biological mother, Betty Broder, was unmarried and struggling financially. After a brief affair with a married man, she gave up her son for adoption just days after his birth. David was adopted by Nathan and Pearl Berkowitz, a middle-class Jewish couple who gave him a stable and loving home, at least on the surface. Despite the care they gave him, David's childhood was far from normal. He was reportedly a difficult and isolated child, prone to angry outbursts, bullying, and trouble at school. Teachers noted early signs of emotional disturbance. He often felt different, like he didn't belong. And when his adoptive mother, Pearl, died when he was just 14 years old, something inside him broke. That event deeply affected him, and he began to spiral emotionally and psychologically. David became more withdrawn, angry, and obsessed with feelings of rejection and abandonment. In an attempt to find structure in his life, he joined the United States Army in 1971. He served for 3 years and was stationed in South Korea, but his time in the military did little to fix his growing internal chaos. After being honorably discharged in 1974, he returned to New York City, but he didn't come back the same man. It was during this period that David Berkowitz began a dangerous descent into obsession and darkness. He began reading about the occult, Satanism, and demonic possession. He became convinced that supernatural forces were controlling his mind, and that he was receiving commands from a demon, one that, according to him, spoke through the barking of his neighbor's dog. The dog's name was Harvey, and his owner was a man named Sam Carr. David would later claim that Sam wasn't just a man, but a demonic figure who had possessed Harvey the dog, using it to channel dark messages telling David to kill. That belief would become the central theme of the mythology surrounding the Son of Sam. In 1976, David Berkowitz acted on those dark thoughts. On July 29, 1976, he committed his first known attack. Around 1:10 a.m., 2 young women, Donna Loria and her friend Jody Valenti, were sitting in a parked car in the Bronx. Suddenly, a man approached the vehicle and opened fire with the .44 caliber revolver. Donna was killed instantly. Jody was injured but survived. It was a brutal, random attack. No warning, no clear motive, but it wouldn't be the last. Over the next several months, New York City would experience a string of nearly identical shootings. All the attacks happened at night. Most of the victims were young women, often with brown hair, often sitting in cars with male companions. In each case, the killer used the same weapon, a .44 caliber Charter Arms Bulldog revolver. Here's a quick timeline of the main attacks. October 23, 1976, Carl DeNaro and Rosemary Keenan were shot while sitting in their car in Queens. Both survived. November 27, 1976, Donna DeMasi and Joanne Lamino were shot while walking home from a movie. Joanne was left paralyzed. January 30, 1977, Christine Freund was shot and killed in Queens. Her fiancé survived. March 8, 1977, Virginia Voskerichian, a college student, was shot in the face and died instantly just a block away from her home. The city was gripped by fear. Young women were cutting their hair, dyeing it blonde, avoiding being alone at night. Couples stopped parking in quiet areas. And the NYPD, overwhelmed and desperate, launched one of the largest manhunts in its history. Then came a breakthrough, but not in the form of evidence. It was a letter. On April 17, 1977, another couple, Alexander Esau and Valentina Suriani, were shot and killed in the Bronx. Near the crime scene, police found a handwritten letter addressed to NYPD Captain Joseph Borelli. It was strange, taunting, filled with bizarre language and references to demons and killing. The letter ended with a chilling signature. Yours in murder, Mr. Monster, aka Son of Sam. With that letter, the killer gave himself a name, and the media ran with it. Headlines the next day shouted, "Son of Sam strikes again." Fear turned into obsession. Everyone wanted to know who he was and why he was doing it. In another letter sent later, he wrote, "I am a monster. I am the son of Sam. I love to hunt. I live for the hunt. The streets shall be filled with blood. My blood, your blood, everyone's blood." It wasn't just the murders that terrified people. It was the idea that this killer was watching, waiting, and mocking the police from the shadows. The letters were filled with strange symbols, occult phrases, and taunts. They revealed a deeply disturbed mind, perhaps one trying to justify his actions through supernatural beliefs, or maybe just a man enjoying the fear he was causing. By mid-1977, the NYPD had formed a task force of over 300 officers, known as Operation Omega, to track him down. But despite all efforts, the killer continued to evade capture. On July 31st, 1977, the son of Sam struck for the last time. Stacy Moskowitz and Robert Violante were sitting in their car in Brooklyn. A man walked up to the driver's side window and fired multiple shots. Stacy was killed. Robert survived but was blinded in one eye. But this time there was a witness. A local woman reported seeing a man walking away from the scene moments after the shooting. She also noticed a parking ticket being written on a yellow Ford Galaxy parked near the crime scene. It was a small detail, but it would change everything. Detectives tracked down the license plate. The ticket was issued to a man named David Berkowitz, who lived in Yonkers, just north of New York City. When police arrived at his apartment on August 10th, 1977, they found a .44 caliber revolver in his car, the murder weapon. They waited for him to leave the building, and when he approached the vehicle, officers drew their weapons. David calmly said, "You got me. What took you so long?" It was over. When interrogated, David Berkowitz confessed to all the shootings. He claimed he was possessed by a demon and was following orders from Sam, a demonic entity that controlled him through the neighbor's dog. He admitted to the murders without showing remorse and seemed to almost enjoy talking about them. Psychiatrists debated whether he was insane or simply evil. While he clearly exhibited signs of paranoid delusions and possible schizophrenia, the court ultimately found him competent to stand trial. In 1978, David Berkowitz pleaded guilty to 6 counts of second-degree murder and was sentenced to 6 consecutive life terms, totaling over 300 years in prison. He is still incarcerated to this day. But the story doesn't end there. In the 1980s, Berkowitz claimed he was not acting alone, that he was part of a satanic cult that ordered him to kill. This theory, although never fully proven, inspired documentaries, books, and investigations. Some people still believe the full truth has never been revealed. In prison, Berkowitz has since claimed to have become a born-again Christian. He now refers to himself not as Son of Sam, but as Son of Hope. He writes religious essays, runs a prison ministry from behind bars, and has expressed regret for his crimes. However, many question the sincerity of his conversion, seeing it as another manipulation. To this day, he has been denied parole every time he's been eligible, and has even asked not to be released, saying he deserves to spend the rest of his life in prison. So who is David Berkowitz? A mentally ill man driven by delusions? A cold-blooded killer seeking fame and control? A symbol of urban terror in a decaying city? Whatever the answer, one thing is certain. David Berkowitz, the son of Sam, left behind more than just victims. He left behind a legacy of fear and a chilling reminder that evil can live anywhere, in anyone, even behind the eyes of the quiet man next door.